Welcome back to Select Stanzas from Psalm 119. Today we're going to be looking at verses 113 to 120. Now before we get into that, I want to start with a little story about, I guess I was probably 9, maybe 10 years old, and my brother and I were headed out to the backyard like we had done many times, and we're going out to our tree house. We built, I don't know why we called it a tree house, because it wasn't actually in the trees, but anyhow, so we're heading out to our tree house, we're walking down the path in the woods, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, this snake reared up and hissed at us, or made a noise at it. I don't know what happened. I literally turned and ran as fast as I could, and I was probably screaming like a little girl. I have no idea what happened to my brother. I was out of there. And so maybe it's that story, maybe it's others, but I gotta tell you, I hate snakes. I absolutely hate snakes. I'm sure there's some of you out there like me. Now, I have some friends that really love snakes, so no offense to those of you who enjoy them, but I hate snakes. What we're going to look at today in Psalm 119, verses 113 to 120, we're going to start with a statement about hate. There are actually some things that we should hate. Maybe it's not actually snakes, but there are some things that if we love God, then we're going to hate them. And so it starts right there at the very beginning of the Psalm, talking about that we hate vain thoughts. I should hate empty, pointless things that are against God, those sinful thoughts. Okay, so this is because a true love for God really is a love for His law, for His commandments, for His statutes, and so on, as we discover in this psalm. And because of that love, there are some things that we hate. We hate the things that God hates. We hate sin, we hate the evildoer and the ways of the path of the evildoer, and we'll find that a little bit further into the psalm. But in verses 114 to 117, we learn that we need to avoid temptation and sin. Sin is very deceiving. Its deception is alluring at times as well. And when we are walking in the commands of God, then we aren't deceived by sin. And so in essence, then His commands become this place of protection, this place that we can hide. Psalm 119, 116 says, "Let me not be ashamed of my hope." When we are walking in His commands, I'm not ashamed of living by the commands God has given me. Others may mock me, others may make fun of me. They might tease me about the way that I'm living, but when I'm living according to God's commands, then I don't have to be ashamed of what God has asked of me to do. And then finally, as we kind of bring some wrap up to these thoughts that we have before we dive in and do some further study, the end of the stanza focuses on how we should have a healthy fear of God. So I had a little bit of fear of that snake, and that's why I hated the snake. This is a different type of fear. This fear is more of a reverential respect of who God is. And so there is a thought. Who are you fearful of today? Are you fearful of your peers? Are you fearful of our culture? And so you submit to what they are asking you to do? Or are you fearful of God in a healthy way, where you have a respect of the things that He says? He is all powerful. He is the righteous judge. And so we should desire to do the things that He has asked us to do, because of the fact that He is the all-powerful righteous judge. Now let's not forget, though, that He is still the loving Father that will protect us if we will walk in His way. So that all of these things balance together. The idea of I hate things that are evil, I find protection by walking in the truths of Scripture, and I have a healthy fear of my God more than a fear of those around us. So I hope that you'll take some time and really dig in and study this stanza as we continue our series of Select Stanzas from Psalm 119.